Please help me welcome Baer.
All right. So I'm already almost crying before I've even started. Thank you for that. So I guess I should introduce myself because I didn't really give you much to go on. I'm Alex. I'm a university student. I'm 19. I am a 2-time college dropout, and an avid advocate for people with mental health issues. I do a lot of work in the community just through social media and stuff. This is my first time ever talking on stage in front of a bunch of people like this, so it's super weird, and I'm very nervous. I want to start out, there is the trigger warning, of course, that I will be talking about sexual assault, but I also want to be warning people I will be talking about sex and orgasms, and there's going to be some stuff that people are typically uncomfortable hearing about. So you do not need to feel obligated to stay and listen. I won't be offended if you stand up and leave. And with that, I guess I'll get started. So I really believe that there needs to be more discussion around sexual assault in the communities, all communities. I was 14 the first time that I was sexually assaulted, raped. And it was a really difficult time for me. I went through a lot of months not knowing if I could ever come forward and tell somebody about it. I grew up in a relatively large family of Mennonites, pretty conservative people. And my mom had always been pretty conservative about sex and stuff. And I remember I went on birth control after I was assaulted, and she found it and got mad and told me that she thought that I would wait until I was 16 to have sex or older. And I just didn't know what to say. I hadn't told her what had happened, and I didn't know how I was supposed to after something like that. So coming forward with that was really difficult. And after a couple of months of therapy, talking to my social worker, who I had been seeing since I was 11, she told me, hey, I think right now you're in a place where you could come forward and tell your mom and be safe. And so I said, okay. And I left that day, and within 5 minutes of leaving therapy, had told my mom. And when I told her, she said, oh, that's happened to me and your sisters too. And I just remember in the moment being furious, why the hell didn't you tell me this before? Why is this something that you kept from me? I went through all these months feeling so alone and so terrified and having no one to reach out to because I didn't know how they would take it. And if I had just known that there were people in my life who understood that experience, then I would have been able to come forward sooner. I would have been able to accept help sooner, which is why I'm here now talking about this. I don't believe that we should be ashamed. I don't believe that we should be secretive. I understand how terrifying it is to have to come forward and talk about this. I have heard just about everything that you can possibly hear as a survivor of assault. The first person I ever told was my best friend, and he immediately told me it was my fault. That's scary. It's not a good time, and a lot of people experience that, but I'm going to tell you right now that you don't have to experience that alone, because if nobody else is, I'm right here with you, and that goes for everybody in this room and anybody that you know. My most recent experience with assault was last year. Unfortunately, I was assaulted 3 times within about 2 months. It was a really rough time. And the day that it happened, I immediately after it happened had to just pack up my shit, get dressed, and go to work. So I drove to work, and it was a night shift, and I got there, and I was just having this awful panic attack in my car and thinking, I can't do this. I can't go in. I can't just be there overnight at this job with me and one man and be fine after what just happened. So I called my boss, having a panic attack, sobbing uncontrollably into the phone, telling her that there was a family emergency and that I couldn't come in. The next day I went into my shift and I was fired. That was during my probation period. They don't need to provide a reason. After that, it became really, really difficult to look for jobs. Anytime that I would even open a website like Indeed or something, I would panic, I would break down, I couldn't do it. Because I was just oh my God, what if something horrible happens to me again? And I just keep getting fired. I didn't know what to do. And unfortunately, shortly before that was another time that I had been assaulted, and this was at the same job. And I guess I should give a little bit of an explanation. So an IUD is an internal insertable form of birth control. It goes just above your cervix. It is very difficult to get that out. You have to go to the hospital and have it removed from you when you need it to be taken out. But unfortunately, due to the assault and trauma to just my body, it came out when I was at work. And I had to go to Emerge. My boss yelled at me. She told me that it wasn't her fault and that she didn't know what she was supposed to do about it. And I was like, bro, just let me leave. It didn't go over very well. So after all of that happened, within about a week, I went home and I didn't know what to do. I got home the night that I had been assaulted, and I was crying, and my mom was there at the house, and she pretty immediately figured out what was going on. She has 3 daughters and a son, all of whom have experienced sexual assault. She knows. She was very aware. I didn't tell her. I didn't say a word about it. She begged me to keep clothes as evidence, and I begged her to please just wash them because I just didn't want to deal with it. And she was so mad at me for that she didn't talk to me for 3 days. I hid in a bedroom and slept on a Baer mattress with no bed sheets, not even my own room, because I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't go back. This wasn't my body anymore. It wasn't my space anymore. It wasn't my place to take up. That stuff didn't belong to me. That stuff belonged to the me who had control over her own body. And then all of a sudden, I didn't. So I slept in a spare room on a Baer mattress with no bed sheets. At one point, the bed frame broke, and I still slept on the bed anyways. I didn't fix it. I just left it the way that it was. I left the room a couple times throughout the days, obviously, to go to the bathroom. I ate very, very little. I slept very, very little. I didn't know how to deal with it. Nobody would talk to me about it, and I wasn't necessarily ready to talk to people about it, and so I just kind of holed up by myself. A couple days after it happened, my sister came to London from Toronto to talk to me about it. She took me to the Middlesex London Health Unit over on Talbot and King, I think. And I was tested for STIs. And a couple days later, I got a call saying that I had chlamydia. They told me, you need to tell everybody that you have had sexual contact with in the past couple of months. And I said, I know where I got it, and it was from an assault. Do I need to tell the person? And the guy on the phone was just shocked. He just didn't know what to say. I didn't need to tell him. Luckily, that wasn't my responsibility. They took that responsibility on themselves. But I still couldn't tell anybody. My sister knew because she was right there with me when I got the diagnosis, but I wasn't going to tell my mom. She asked me why I was feeling so sick and why I was taking antibiotics, and I was just like, I have an ear infection. I didn't know what to say. There's a lot of stigma around assault and a lot of stigma around testing and STIs, and it's such bullcrap. I'm trying not to swear. So I went forward, and I didn't know how to deal with this. After I was cleared from the chlamydia, I was not coping in a healthy manner. And what I'm going to approach now is the topic of sexual promiscuity. There are healthy ways to be sexually promiscuous, and there are unhealthy ways. And those are two very different things, but there's also a very thin line. And I was using them in very unhealthy ways. I don't remember the names of all the people that I had sex with during this period of time. I don't remember the sex. I don't remember how many people there were in a given day. I just went through this period of being like, I need to feel in control of my body. I need to feel like this is mine and I can do whatever the hell I want with it. And so I went and I slept with as many people as I could to prove to myself that that's my body, that I can control what I feel and what I do with it. And that led to a lot of trust issues. I went forward from that not feeling like I could ever be in a long-term relationship again because that's not really my body. I hadn't really dealt with it. And so if I go into a relationship, then I'm going to have to actually start to trust this person and eventually reach a point where I can be honest with them about what happened. Luckily, I found a partner who is really understanding and really incredible, but not everybody has that privilege. Going through that was really difficult. I found having sex afterwards, I had a lot of weird out-of-body experiences, not like what you see in movies where you're like a ghost outside of your body, but almost just like I'm inside myself. Like my actual essence and my actual being are shrunk up and small and not in physical contact with my body. Like I wasn't aware really of what was happening to me. I couldn't feel it. Physically, I was completely numb, and emotionally, I was completely empty. And so I don't really think that those experiences were true experiences. I went through all of that, and I found eventually that using sex toys was really helpful because it wasn't touched from another human being. So I didn't have that out-of-body experience coming to me when that was happening. I would use those toys because that's a robot, and I was able to like recognize like, okay, that's not a hand touching me. This is me controlling it. So I know that what's happening I'm in control of, and it's safe and it's okay, and I'm here and I'm now in this moment, and I'm not back where I was before. Going through all of this was really hard, and I went through a long period of time where I would squeeze my eyes tight as I could so that I wouldn't make eye contact during sex because I was so scared that if I reopened my eyes after blinking that it would be him again. And that was really difficult to do, but eventually I did it. Slowly, I started opening my eyes, looking to the side, not making real eye contact. I started opening my eyes, staring at shoulders, staring at somebody's back, whatever, anything. And then eventually I was able to make eye contact at first for seconds, then for minutes, then for however long I wanted. But it took time, and there are times when I still cry, when I still break down, when I still can't do the eye contact. And that's okay. And it's hard to realize that just because you are having a difficult time doesn't mean that you're taking a step in the wrong direction. It just means that now you're aware of what's wrong and you're seeing it. Because before, I wasn't necessarily aware. There was something wrong, but I couldn't have pointed it out to you. I couldn't have told you when it started and when it ended. But now I'm in a place where when it does happen, I'm able to identify it immediately, and I know how to cope with it. Sometimes it's still too hard to do that, and that's okay. That is part of being human, is that we have emotions we can't handle, and that's totally fine. I guess basically what I want to say now is I am my own and no one else's. And I think that that's an important thing to remind yourself. Not even just survivors of sexual assault, but survivors of just about anything. I mean, I have all sorts of privilege, right? But as a woman, as an openly queer woman who I've been told I have a lot of gay energy, and and as someone with mental health issues and a disability, I am oppressed, right? And despite my other types of privilege, there are still times where I just feel like I don't get to choose what happens to me. Society does, but no. Like, fuck that. That's stupid. I am my own and no one else's. And if you don't get anything else from my speech today, please just get that, because that is so important to be able to remind yourself. And to wrap it up, you guys can come ask me questions, anything that you want to hear from me. It can be as personal as you want. I was talking about making eye contact during sex. There's nothing that you can't ask me. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say, I guess.